All right, you guys, so today's story is honestly something that I did not want to tell. But since I'm no longer friends with this person, I feel like it'd be awesome to tell because it has something to do with his mother. So before anything, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more crazy stories just like this one. And honestly, I'm too excited, so let's just get straight into this. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place, actually funny enough, 2 years ago. Now, 2 years ago, I was 19 years old by myself and living in a penthouse. The reason for this was because, well, thanks to you guys, I ended up blowing up on TikTok and making enough to actually live in a penthouse, which is really weird in my mind, but at the same time, it was really awesome knowing that I started to grow an audience because all I did was doing the Devil's Tango. Obviously, there's more to it, of course, but that was like the main gist of why I ended up living into a penthouse, because honestly, I want to live that cool lifestyle that your favorite YouTubers all have. And little did I realize it was honestly a waste of money. But I remember one time when I lived in the penthouse, I lived in this really nice building. And this building was a good building, and a lot of girls recognized it because it was right beside the club that I used to always go to go pick up more girls. And I remember one time when I was just chilling one time and not going out on a Friday night, I basically decided to hang out at home and record videos. But I remember one time I basically ended up hopping on Discord with me and the boys, which is like a friend group of mine that I had since high school, and basically started to talk to them and basically had a normal conversation until one of the boys ended up joining, and he basically started freaking out. He started freaking out saying, "Guys, I don't know where my mom is. Like, my mom says she's going out to go see a guy, but like now I don't know what's going on, and apparently like she's like out doing something. I'm so confused." I remember me and the boys decided to tell him to calm down and basically just call the cops to find her. But for some reason, he didn't want to do that because apparently his mom was hiding something that he could not address to the cops and explain, nor was he even going to tell us it. So instead, I decided to ask him saying, "Okay, well, where's the last time, you saw her?" He ended up saying, "Bubba, I think my mom's somewhere around your area." Wait, around my area is what I said. And at that point, I realized that I would probably have to do something to help him out because this is a good friend of mine since high school. And also, not to mention, his mom also used to always be super nice to me every time I'd go over to my friend's place to do a sleepover. So I basically ended up saying, "Okay, listen, I'll maybe just take a drive around and see if I can find her, okay?" He ended up saying okay, and he ended up texting his mom as well to basically try to look for me in my car. I remember that night, I ended up basically putting on some sweatpants and a hoodie, and I started getting in my car and driving around. I drove around a couple blocks around my area because, in my area, there are a lot of clubs and stuff, and I'd rather not be out late at night. So I started driving around looking for her, seeing if I could find her at all, but honestly, nothing showed up. I remember I ended up calling my friend while I was in the car saying, "Yo, bro, I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where she is." And my friend ended up saying, "Dude, I literally told my mom to go to like your place, okay? My mom might be at your house by now." Wait, what? Is what I ended up saying. And then that's what I realized as I was going towards my building and about to go to the underground parking lot. She was already there in the soaking rain, just basically getting drenched and just waiting outside my building. At that point, I remember I told her to get in my car real quick as I went to go park it underground, and I asked her the question of, "Hey, is everything all right? Like, your son was really worried about you." I remember the mom basically started explaining how, like, after her divorce, she never really went out and had fun, and she wanted to do it like she used to back when she was younger. I could understand that, I guess, having a son really restricts things from having fun, but since your son's older now, I mean, it makes sense to go have fun again. And then one thing led to another. I tried to basically have a moral understanding with her and just talk to her as if she was a friend instead of my friend's mom. And I remember she felt really appreciative of that, and basically I ended up parking the car and we started going upstairs. We went upstairs to my place, and I remember since I lived in a really big penthouse, I decided to let her have the couch because none of the rooms actually had a place to sleep. One room had a gaming setup, the other room had my bed, and the other two rooms, well, they were just full of storage because I really had nowhere else to put things. I remember when my friend's mom entered the house, she ended up looking around and seeing that it's kind of insane that I live in a penthouse by myself. But I told her, thanks to you guys on, watching my videos and stuff, it ended up just working out. And then for some reason, things kind of just ended up flipping. She ended up coming near me saying, "Oh, so you're famous, I guess, and you do all this your own. My son could never." Wait, what is what I said? And then for some reason, she started comparing her son to me. Now, parents, if you guys are watching this video, never compare your kids to another kid because it just leaves that kid to be dumb. And yes, some kids are more successful than others, but at the same time, do you really got to compare them? Everyone comes in their own time. But I remember afterwards when she said that, I basically ended up saying, "Okay, I'm just gonna get your blankets and you can just kind of sleep on the couch." And yeah. And I basically ended up going to get some blankets that I had extra in my house and basically ended up putting it on the couch. When I put it on the couch, I remember she looked at me and said, oh, like, I don't really want to sit alone. Like, can we like watch a movie together or something? I just need to distract myself from what happened tonight. I ended up looking at her kind of odd, and I ended up sitting up beside her and turning on the TV. But as I sat beside her, I asked her the question that I need to know. I asked her, hey, I have a question. Where were you when your son was texting you, you didn't answer? She ended up explaining how she got into some old habits that she was not proud of back in high school. And basically, she kind of just ended up becoming, well, how do I put this? An addict. I remember I was kind of like confused, and I really didn't want to understand, nor did I want to know, to be honest, because, I'm literally friends with her son. You know what I mean? Like, it just became awkward. And also, she was always like a second mom to me. Like, I knew her as if she was like my own mother. So I basically ended up kind of backing off, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed. You do what you gotta do. So I ended up going back in my room, and I started editing the YouTube videos. When I was editing the videos, I remember midway through the night, I ended up hearing a noise randomly, and it was a really awkward noise. I remember listening towards my door, and I heard a noise that I did not want to hear, but it sounded something like this. Now, this noise could be one of two things. One, it could be her having a really bad nose issue, which, I have as well, and having a really bad cold sucks. Or two, she's literally snorting the sugar in my living room. So at that point, I remember I got up with a box of napkins that was sitting in my office, and I basically ended up going there saying, hey, I brought this for you. She ended up looking at me as she literally had a straw that I used, by the way, that was in my kitchen, and literally putting sugar on the, counter. At this point, I looked at her and I said, are you good? She ended up looking at me saying, oh, like, don't tell this to him. Like, please don't say anything. But obviously at that point, there's no way I wasn't going to say anything. She was literally doing drugs in my house. So right as I was going for the phone, trying to basically give my friend a call, she ended up saying, okay, Bubba, listen, I'll do literally anything. Anything is what I said. And that's what had happened. She ended up literally just taking off all her clothing right in front of me as if she had nothing to lose. And basically she just started coming towards me and tried making out with me. And by tried, I mean, I was pushing my head back, but she kept pushing it forward with her hand that was behind my head. And one thing led to another. I kind of just said, and I just decided to do it with her. Me and her, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango in my place. And, the next morning, I realized that this was the biggest mistake ever, because me telling my friend about this was not going to be easy. But honestly, the story is long enough, so I'm going to save it for another time. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more insane stories. Peace out, guys. Before I get into the story, I just want to say that revenge is never the answer. Except in this story, it was. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to an insane story. And I remember in grade 12, it was my craziest year yet, because around this time, my body count was like in the high 80s, and I basically done a lot of the Devil's Tango. But one thing I will say is that since I did a lot of the Devil's Tango throughout high school, girls talk, and well, none of them were interested in me anymore, let's just say. So I remember I decided to take the grade 12 year and not focus on girls and focus on myself. Basically focus on what I want to do with my future and figure out if I was gonna be forever that guy that just did the Devil's Tango. Little did I know I was still going to be, but going on with the story though, I remember in grade 12, I decided to focus on, actually becoming good friends with the guys and just, focus on me and the homies. You know what I mean? Like, those memes where you see a person in heartbreak and you see like the boys like always supporting the guy after like, they get heartbroken? That's basically what I wanted. So I remember I basically started hanging out with the guys again. Now, if you guys don't know, I had this friend group back in high school that were the boys. The boys were just a couple of crazy guys with crazy shenanigans that just kind of did their own thing. Well, not their own thing, but together as the boys. And I remember basically I ended up, hanging out with them more, and it was a really good time. I'm not gonna lie to you, I always enjoyed going out with the boys and hanging out with them. It was more entertaining than me bringing a chick home and doing the Devil's Tango, which is a really big thing for me to say, by the way. But going on, I remember out of the boys, there was one person in the group that was, well, not a fan of me. And the reason for that is because, well, throughout the high school years, apparently at some moment, I did his girlfriend and I did the Devil's Tango with her and then ghosted her. Which, I mean, I don't know why he's upset about that, because he should be happy that I ghosted her, because if I didn't, well, then he would never be with her in the first place. You guys know what I mean? But he wasn't understanding that, and honestly, he kept having like these drama moments with me where he would be mean to me and stuff, and he would always pick on me in front of the guys. Now, it's normal for guys to pick on each other. It's a very normal thing. But when you pick on another person to an extent where you're bringing like, bigger things into the picture, when you're crossing that line, I guess I would say, it hurts a lot more. So I remember he ended up doing that, and he always used to pick on me crossing the borders with, you know, basically calling me like racist slur terms and stuff. And me, I wasn't cool with it. So I remember I kept telling him to like buzz off, like, you know, relax and stuff. And the thing is too, is that he kept making a fool of himself every time he made fun of me because, well, the guys all knew that it was because I ghosted his girlfriend after I did the Devil's Tango with her. So, I mean, fair enough. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember one time we were all sitting in the cafeteria. Me and the guys were just sitting there eating our Subway sandwiches and just relaxing. And then this guy ended up walking up to us, the guy that used to always pick on me, and he said, yo guys, I'm having like a little party at my place, you know, it's my girlfriend's birthday. And like, honestly, like if you guys are down, I mean, like you guys all want to go? Because she's cool with everyone going. I remember I looked at him and he ended up looking at me saying, oh yeah, Bubba, you're allowed to come too. Like, don't worry, like she's chill with you now. Oh, okay, cool, I'm in, is what I said afterwards, with no hesitation at all, because I didn't want him thinking that it would be weird for me as well. And then afterwards, I remember basically all the guys ended up saying yes, and basically that night we all decided to basically go home, hop on Xbox for a little bit, and then start getting ready for the party. Now me, when I was getting ready for the party, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was thinking I was just gonna go there, have a good time, and then just head back home and not do anything, which is really rare for me, by the way, because usually I would go home with a girl and do the Devil's Tango. But I guess that wasn't the case this time. Like I said, I wanted to focus on myself, hang out with the guys, and just have a good time. So I remember when I got to the party, I was looking really good, and I remember I walked around hanging out with everyone, drinking, and just having a good time. But I remember as the party was like going on and stuff, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing someone that I recognized. And apparently it was a girl that I actually fell in love with back when I was way younger, in grade 9. Now, if you guys don't know, yes, I had my first love back when I was in grade 9. I'm not gonna say any details about it, nothing, because obviously this girl basically was the one that I blame for becoming who I am today. I know it's kind of sad and depressing to say, but let's just say this girl was my first love ever. And to this day, I actually still love her, but honestly, I can't ever speak to her because, well, yeah, you know, it's a story for another time. Let's just put it that way. Going on though, I remember basically when I saw her at the party, I started freaking out. I'm like, why is she here? And I started hyperventilating and freaking out, which is not a normal thing for me to do, by the way, because I do a lot of different girls on the daily almost, or was doing a lot of girls on the daily almost. So seeing her there really freaked me out. And I remember as I was looking at her, she ended up seeing me and we locked eye contact. And when we locked eye contact, it was super awkward until the guy that always picked on me, that was a part of the boys, ended up seeing me, looking at her, and walked up to me saying, oh, that's my girlfriend's new friend. Honestly, like I didn't expect her to actually show up. And I ended up looking at him saying, oh, like why is that? Oh, I don't know, apparently like she has beef with one of the guys. I don't know who, but I mean, it's whatever, I guess. And he ended up walking away, kind of smirking. At this point, I knew what this guy was doing, and honestly, it wasn't cool. Like I said, it was all right making fun of the guys, but obviously taking it to that extent where you're crossing the line is too far. I remember when I saw this though, what I ended up doing was basically drinking more and got really upset to the point where I ended up basically going upstairs to one of the bedrooms, and I ended up just sitting in his parents' bedroom, just sitting there all upset. I was sitting there upset as I was drinking more and more, and I remember I started realizing why basically being the Devil's Tango master has its perks, but in reality it sucks because falling in love wasn't easy anymore. But I remember as I was sitting there all upset and everything, I saw the bathroom from the parents' bedroom open up. When the door opened, I remember I saw my friend's mom that was just chilling there. She saw me and she said, oh, like, Bubba, I'm sorry, I didn't see you in here. What are you doing here, by the way? The party's downstairs. Oh, sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. Me kind of slurring my words a bit. Oh, like, I'm just, you know, kind of upset, but it is what it is. Sorry, I'll leave you alone though, is what I said afterwards. And I started basically heading for the door. But as I was heading for the door, I remember his mom was in a robe and basically ended up stopping me saying, are you all right? Like, you seem off. Is everything okay? Like, you can talk to me. Okay, I guess. And I ended up basically sitting back on the bed with her, and I basically started ranting. I started ranting about how her son basically did the mistake of the century and basically made me feel like absolute garbage after seeing my first love downstairs. And, you know, one thing led to another. I was rambling about the whole situation, and she ended up saying, I can't believe my son would do that to you. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he was just trying to mess around, or I don't know. He's just being whatever. Me trying to play it cool because at the same time, I am complaining about her son right in front of her. And then that's where things get really scary because what this mom decides to do was something I never expected. She ended up basically saying, you want to know the best way to, like, you know, get rid of those emotions? I said, what? By distracting yourself. And she ended up standing up and taking off her robe right in front of me. And one thing led to another. Well, as you guys may guessed it, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. I did the Devil's Tango with his mom. Yeah. That's insane, by the way, can I just say? I never expected it to happen. And like I said earlier, I was expecting to go into this party not doing anything. But I ended up basically doing his mom. And one thing led to another. I remember in the middle of me and her doing it, I ended up hearing the door open saying, "Hey, mom, I have a question. What are you doing?" And basically, it was the guy that was always picking on me, seeing that I basically was doing his mom right in front of him. I did this guy's mom right in front of him. Like, can you guys imagine that? Like, imagine your friend just doing the Devil's Tango with your mom, and you walk into that as there's a party going on downstairs for your girlfriend. That's insane. I remember when he saw that, he started basically closing the door and was really upset. And honestly, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to go back downstairs and face everyone. So I decided to put on my clothes again, and the mom even asked me like, "Oh, like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't expect this to happen." And I ended up telling her, "Does your window open?" I basically ended up opening up her window and jumping out of it. I jumped out of her window and just went back home. And since that day, I have not talked to any of the boys until the weekend after. And then on Monday, I remember everyone ended up walking up to me knowing what happened and ended up saying that was insane. And even the boys knew that that was the most craziest revenge you can get on a person that picks on you. Now, I love boats. Boats are honestly the coolest things ever because if you want me to be honest, I was watching The Wolf of Wall Street the other day and seeing his yacht, like who wouldn't want to do a girl on a yacht? And I remember back when I was in high school, I actually made it my life goal to do a girl on a yacht, and I actually ended up doing it, just with the wrong person. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was actually in grade 12. Now in grade 12, I was graduating that year, and I remember I decided to make it the most craziest year of my life. Because, well, let's put it this way, I kind of wanted to end it off with a bang. And yes, I do mean Devil's Tango. But you know what I mean, like I wanted to get it more intense. So I remember one day I was walking around my school hanging out with some friends, and there was this new girl that entered our school that was from Dubai. Now this girl from Dubai, I'm not gonna lie to you, she had a really nice body, but her face was not the best. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't find her attractive at all. But I remember one time basically adding this girl on Instagram, and I ended up seeing one of her Instagram stories where basically she was on a yacht. And when I saw that yacht, holy cow. At that point, I was ready to be a gold digger. I know, crazy, right? Me, a gold digger. Now, that usually never happens because most girls nowadays, unless they got an OnlyFans, they're not really making much. No offense to any rich girls out there. I'm still single. But going on, after I saw the yacht on her story, I decided that there's a lot of things that a plastic bag and closing your eyes could do. So I remember the next day, I ended up walking to my school, and basically I ended up walking around the school, and I saw the girl that was, well, owning a yacht. And I thought I'd walk up to her and say, "Hey, like, how's it going?" She ended up looking at me kind of confused because I never talked to this girl, but I ended up basically saying, "What's going on?" And she ended up saying, "Oh, nothing, just been tanning a lot. My skin's like really like burning up, I feel. I don't really know. I gotta apply more sunscreen on my back." And when she was talking about tanning, I was just picturing in my mind me tanning on a boat. Like, oh, I love boats, man. I really want to own a yacht. Yo, if there's any rich people out there that have an extra yacht, yo, send it my way. But going on, I remember I ended up telling her, "Oh, I mean, like, why don't you just get someone to apply it on your back for you?" She ended up looking at me laughing, saying, "Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of awkward if I ask my parents to put lotion on me." And then that's when I ended up saying, "Well, I mean, I could." And then that's where it clicked. Me and her, we started talking from there about basically how I love boats and how she likes boats. And one thing led to another. I ended up getting her number. And let's just say I had a date with her on that yacht the literal week after. I remember throughout the school week, I was basically telling all the boys about how I had a date with her on the yacht. And none of the boys believed me, funny enough, because they thought it was absolutely crazy how I magically just decided to walk up to this girl and ask her to go on her boat. But little do they know that women that are really insecure are usually the easiest to pull. So anyways, going on, I remember I told them that, but they didn't believe me. So I thought I should just prove it when I'm on the yacht. And I remember the week later, well, I ended up getting in my car. I drove to her place. We ended up going with her car all the way to, well, the place with the yacht. I remember that when I first saw the yacht, my mouth was watering. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I remember I ended up talking to this girl saying, yo, this is really nice. And she ended up saying, yeah, like my daddy needed a tax write-off. So like we ended up just getting a yacht for the business. What does your dad do? Is what I asked her. And she ended up saying, oh, I don't know. He owns like a business in Dubai. I don't know. I can't really describe it, but it makes money. So I'm not complaining is what I said. And I remember we ended up basically going onto the boat and just hanging out. But as we were on the boat, like I'm not gonna lie to you, as we were walking around it, I saw there were like workers on the boat, people walking around. There was a master bedroom, and like this boat was really nice. Going on from there, I remember this girl ended up walking to the captain's quarters, or basically wherever the captain ended up driving the boat, and asked the captain to basically take us for a lap around, like, you know, the lake, the sea. I don't really know. I wasn't really sure where we were, but it's a nice place. All right. So anyways, the captain starts driving the boat, you know, going around and stuff. And I remember it was a really hot day out. So me and her, we ended up going to the top deck and tanning. As we were tanning, she ended up pulling out the lotion that she wanted on her back. And she's like, okay, well, you're going to put this on me now. So I remember I basically told her to lay on her back, and she ended up taking off her top in front of me. And I saw some cherries. And from there, I remember I got bricked up. Like, no joke. I was seriously bricked, and I was putting lotion on her back. I remember as I was putting lotion on her back, though, it was really obvious that I was bricked, like seriously bricked. And I was kind of embarrassed because a person that was also on the boat that day was her mom. Her mom was on the boat to basically, like, you know, just relax, I guess. I have no idea. But I remember her mom ended up basically seeing me put lotion on her back, and she saw me basically with her, and she 100% noticed that I was bricked. And when she saw that, I remember she looked at me and winked at me. Not even questioned anything that was going on, but her mom literally winked at me out of nowhere. Now, I remember I was really awkwarded out. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. So I remember I just played it cool. But then afterwards, I remember after I finished putting lotion on her back, I ended up saying, yo, do you have a bathroom anywhere? Because I really actually had to go because one, I wanted to make sure this eggplant went back down. I don't know. It's just weird. So I remember she ended up telling me, yeah, there's like a bathroom like the boat. Like just keep walking and go to the left. You'll see it. And I ended up basically going to the bathroom. And as I got there, I remember I heard a knock on the door right as I walked in. When I opened it real quick to see who it was, I saw it was actually, funny enough, the girl's mom. And the girl's mom that I, you know, got invited from the boat from ended up basically coming into the bathroom, and she instantly, and I mean instantly, just grabbed my eggplant. I'm not even joking. Like, she just grabbed it. I don't know why. I guess like consent is not a thing on their boat. I don't know, but she grabbed it and she ended up basically started making out with me. Now, I'm gonna say this. She had a really hot mom. Okay, I won't lie to you. The mom was like the best of both worlds. She had a hot face and also a hot body. So I wasn't complaining. So I remember from there, I remember she ended up grabbing my wrist and taking me out of the bathroom and taking me to the master bedroom. And me and her, well, I guess you guys could guess what happened. Basically, we ended up doing the devil's tango in the master bedroom of the yacht. Like, what? Like, bro, my mind was blown and I was super excited. And I won't lie to you guys, it was the best thing ever. Who else would get that kind of like? So I remember from that moment, I ended up basically doing it with her, and one thing led to another. Out of nowhere, I remember seeing by the window, there was one of the workers looking through the window, seeing that I was absolutely doing the devil's tango with the mom. So from there, I kind of started panicking because I didn't want the other girl to know that actually got me onto the yacht, and I basically told her we had to stop. But it was super funny because this mom, I'm not even joking, was like really into me for some reason. Oh, like, let me help you finish. No, it's okay. I gotta go. And I remember I ended up just running as fast as I could back to the top of the yacht where she was tanning. But when I looked over there and got up there and saw that she wasn't there, I ended up turning around and she ended up being right behind me. And let's just say when I turned around, so did the boat. And also me having to take an Uber all the way back to her place to get my car. That was an expensive Uber ride. I will say that right now. But yeah, one thing leads to another. Just don't do girls' moms on the yacht. Do whoever else is on there. Or just do the girl that originally invited you on if it's not your yacht. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, just fall for more embarrassing but crazy stories. Peace out, guys.